here live from Arizona. So I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a good morning. If you are in the room, hop in and say hi. Hope everyone's doing well. So we are still integrating from equinox, right? From equinox. So there were some really profound shifts that occurred through equinox, and I want to discuss that a little bit. We talked about it a little bit last night in the Patreon community, discussing what happened during equinox, the really big quantum jump that we made as a collective, and how we're all feeling as a result of that, myself included. It felt for a couple of days that the realities were a little backwards. I don't know if anyone else felt this, but I want to discuss this a little bit. It's the polarization of the new pathways, right? So recognizing that when we step into a new pathway and we make a quantum jump or a big quantum leap, that as a result, it can feel a little off as we're integrating onto the new pathways and really realigning and readjusting to what we're calling forward for our soul's evolution, for our soul's gifts, and for the new constructs that we are working within now. So it essentially, here's how it was coming through for me, is that when the new timelines anchor, the new pathways anchor, we are reversing a lot of polarity out of our lives. And so as a result, it can feel a little backwards. The realities for a few days can feel a little backwards. They feel backwards because it's literally a polar opposite of where you're at, because you're in the process of dissolving polarity, right? So during equinox, I could feel the dismantling that was occurring. Huge waves of freedom, huge waves of liberation, and a lot of that being coded into our reality now about what the next level of embodiment of freedom and of that true sovereignty is within our own lives and within our pathways. And so the constructs of freedom and of liberation and of hope are really inviting in for ourselves what the next layer of freedom is in our own lives. Okay. So this is our choice point now to continue to choose what the free self is and how the free self embodies throughout the day. So the choice point of freedom, the choice point of hope, the choice point of peace, the choice point of liberation gives us an opportunity to really step out of those old constructs and the old ways of living, the old ways of thinking, the old ways of being, the old ways of behaving, and beginning to propagate new into our own pathway. So what does freedom mean to you? Right? Now that we've embodied and we've anchored all of the cellular codes of freedom from this influx and from all of this, the support that's been coming in, okay, is now how do we embody that freedom? And then how do we trust that freedom as well, right? So what does this mean for you? Is it freedom of expression? Is it freedom of being able to, freedom of movement, freedom of being, freedom of thought? However this is going to unlock for all of us, I can sense that within this wave of revelation and within this next level of ascension that we're all stepping into, that this is going to show up differently for all of us, right? Because as we streamline and anchor the codes of freedom, right, into our body and into our cellular body, and we activate them, how it is propagated and how it is shared through our form and expressed through our vessel in regards to the unified soul expression, and what it means for us is going to be different for every person because of the stages of embodiment that we're at, and also because of the constructs that we are obliterating. Okay, so a lot of this right now in my own life has created some unsurety, right? It's created this feeling within, like, not sure what's next, still not quite clear, still don't quite know. I want to remind everyone that these equinox fluxes, right, they last for about 5 to 7 days post-gate, okay? So as a result, right, that when we go through these gateways and these corridors, as they open up, that we're still in that equinox flux. Now, while it is toning down, we still have peak moments of activity from the solar codes and from the gates that will come in, and we're still in a lot of that processing. Some of this is processing in dream time, some of this is processing throughout the day. Either way, we're still in the process and still integrating, right? So taking time out to recognize that if your clarity's not here yet, right, and you don't know what the next new is for you, inviting yourself the opportunity to just rest and to relax and to go, you know what? I trust this process. I trust this path. I trust this next layer of freedom. And I trust that it will crystallize into my reality and I will be shown exactly what I need to know in every now moment to give me the opportunity to propagate that newness and to propagate that freedom. Okay. Myself included, I'm actually starting to see the crystallization of these new realities and the newness. And what it's doing is it's providing momentum now. So especially with Aries season's all that action, all that doing energy, all that fire energy, right? And so now really very much so is you can feel the freshness of the new zodiac year. So, you know, congratulations, we made it to another zodiac year. So we're starting over fresh there. But also too is that there is a renewal energy in the air, and that knowing that moving forward from here on out that we are walking in a new level and layer of newness in our own lives. You know, it's funny because even myself, I was mentioning this to the Patreon community last night. I speak of newness so much in my own life and in new earth trajectories and new pathways and new timelines. And even myself, I was like, how is this new? Like, even reflecting back on my messages, the way I'm embodying, the way I'm moving, the way I'm doing my routines, I'm like, there's nothing, none of this is really new. When is it going to be crystallized, right? And it was right at equinox that I noticed that there was a drop of miracles that all of a sudden started to crystallize, and I started to see the solidification of the pathways or the crystallization of the pathway. The thing is, though, is that when we make a quantum jump, guys, as a collective, and even in our own individual trajectories, we have to put in action towards aligning those realities and towards creating those realities, right? So whatever it is that you seeded in summertime, okay, whatever it is that you've been seeding and working on, if there is something you're calling forward, it is really now about stepping into the what can I do every single day towards making sure that I'm aligning to that pathway and that I'm securing my future that is crystallized here and now, and making the option and choice to propagate those new pathways for ourselves, especially as we're unlocking the freedom, right? Is that for a lot of this, when the freedom codes anchor and come in, this is when our power turns on, right? This is where we start to have new identities. That was a big one that was coming through, is we have new identities. We have new states of being. We have new belief systems. And as a result, people are going to start saying no more a little bit more, right? So when the freedom codes come in, we get the level of awareness within ourselves of where we've been held in limited constructs, where we've been held in our own limitations, or where we're allowing others to propagate control or manipulation or fear, whatever it is. So as we ignite the freedom, we also have to continually choose that, right? So this is when people start to power on, right? This is when we start to see that solar code, the solar gates unlock within us, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, no more. I'm saying no to this, right? I'm gonna walk in this direction. I'm not gonna allow that to shift me or to change me anymore, right? So as a result, this freedom also does create collective movement, and we are seeing that as well. We're seeing that there are many light workers and many people on the grids that are starting to move right now. Okay. And when this movement occurs, right, this begins to recalculate our trajectories and it begins to shift the grids, right? So if we see everything built on sacred mathematics or nodal points on the grid, right, is as us as grid keepers and as pillars, when we start to shift around the grid, we shift around the hologram, and as a result, our realities change. Right? So there is a quantum effect, even when one person migrates, right? When one grid keeper chooses to shift into a new location or to go to a different site or to make that movement and to make that choice, we now open up levels and gates of freedom within humanity, and the hologram changes, okay? So myself included, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing that it's been easier to, it's getting easier to be able to create that new routine, to no longer play in the division, to unify at greater levels with self and to unify with others, and to begin making these migratory shifts that are going to propagate where we need to be on our pathway to really solidify, crystallize, and realize our self-worth, our self-value, and also where we can begin to receive the resources that we need for the next new, right? So there's people that are opening up new projects. There's people that are calling in new family and new tribe, and we're going to start seeing the unification of the new tribe, the new soul tribe, right? So we've been calling forward as an experience, friends, family, relatives, get-togethers, right? As a collective, we have been, especially because of what has occurred through 2020, 2022, you know, that there's all of that coming together energy, all of that, let's get together, right? Let's have fun, let's party, let's celebrate, let's create together, all that co-creative effort. So as a result, right now, there are people that are making movements to land in those places that feel right. That's going to give them the next level of elemental awareness within their own lives and own constructs, right? So we have to also see that with seasonal shifts as well, is our body now begins to need different elemental structures, right, to provide the sustenance and the thriving and the sustainability that we look at for our own lives. So back to the migratory patterns of birds, we see this occur a lot, right? Is that as we are shifting dimensions, right, as we are shifting into new pathways, as we are shifting into new realities and new levels of embodiment, that our body, okay, our body will need different elemental structures to align to the new, right? So as a result, this is when we start to see the next up leveling of freedom, where people start to align to different areas, such as more tropical environments, some more desert, some more getting to the mountains, some wanting to go to the lakes, rivers, and streams, because now your body is calling forward a different elemental or a different alchemical makeup to be able to propagate for the integration, the thriving, the sustenance, the sustainability, and the abundant arrival of who you are here and now in this new level and new version of you, right? So we had a lot of activations come through in equinox, which is normal. That's what an influx of a passageway does. It unlocks for us. We get higher levels of embodiment, right? And the biggest thing has been, you know, being able to make sure, guys, that we are integrating, that we are doing what we can to integrate. And that's a part of what this support call is today, and what this live stream is about, is really about the focal point of integration, right? It's been something for myself that I've been having to work on more, is really focusing on what I need to integrate fully, to integrate the light codes, to integrate the awareness, to integrate the higher levels of embodiment, and what it takes to be able to sustain the activations and to hold them within the form, right? There's many times that I've seen people, and even myself included, that get these activations, that we anchor all this light, right? And then we don't properly integrate. And as a result, to keep up with the new pathways, we find that they don't crystallize fully because we're not giving ourselves opportune time to fully integrate through the passageways and to fully integrate through the influxes. So what does integration mean for us? Getting outside and grounding, right? Taking time off of work, right? Relaxing. If the body needs to rest, it rests. If it needs to exercise, it exercises. If you need to move, move. If you need to dance, dance. What helps you to integrate, right? And also, what is that support network for integration? Back to, you know, the crystalline networks. I tend to work with Antares a lot when it comes to integration. They help me a lot in that intrinsic support, right? They help me with support a lot. So for right now, we're still in that process of really what is to come. We might be seeing, for some of us, the crystallization of those efforts coming into place, right? There is a sacred ceremony that I held back in June 22nd, for solstice, where we seeded during that time for January, February, and March. If you were a part of that activation, I'm excited to see if anything actually crystallized from the intentions that we put forward then. Myself, I'm actually starting to see these things propagate now, and it's really excited, right? But as a result, we still got things to clear out, right? We still have things that we need to clear out. Okay. And so as a result, you know, taking time to be able to rest, taking time in those moments to relax, to allow the body to melt and to fully receive what you need for the integration is really important. And to take time out to just be with yourself, to be with the newness, to be with the freshness, to be able to really unify with who you are, and to feel safe in the form again, and to feel really safe in the body. Okay. Myself included, is a lot of this has to do now too with the new communication links and how we are really, through the integration, how we're communicating with our own bodies, how our soul is communicating to us, and how we are receiving the downloads and the activations. Because for myself, while there has been a lot of clarity that there's newness here, the approach on how to propagate that new is still a little bit unsure, unknown. And as a result, some of you might feel this disconnect, right? I'm not going to state this for everyone, so please use your discernment, but there's been a lot of moments where I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, spirit, okay, other dimensional versions. Okay, universe, what is it that I need to do? And I'm met with crickets. And I'm like, gosh, all those thoughts can start coming in. Like, what am I doing wrong, right? Why am I disconnected? Is there a clog in my chakras? What is it, right? And the biggest thing I recognize is that silence is a teacher as well, guys. Silence is a teacher. And there's wisdom within silence. There's knowing within silence. There's knowing within emptiness, right? And so as a result, even for myself, right, is recognizing that now there's a new level of sensory communication that's really important right now as we are anchoring more of our soul and we're awakening to what that soul's consciousness is and how it expresses to us through the form. To recognize that we have 5 senses, right? And as a result, we have to listen to those senses, right? What is my body feeling? What are my emotions telling me, right? What is that ping, in my body, right? What is that fluctuation that I'm feeling here? What is that tingling? All of it soul communications, especially as our energetic awareness is becoming more and more online, right? So as we're coming into higher levels of awareness, this can propagate for many of us as energetic sensitivity, which then starts to come into the you're feeling everything, right? And I don't know if there's anyone else in here that feels it all, right? Or have those moments where you're just super energetically sensitive, right? Where you're super expanded and your etheric bodies are able to feel everything going on, right? This is where we come into the level of what it is to be empowered with energetic awareness, being empowered as starseeds, being empowered as light workers, right? And the importance of grounding and the importance of feeling, right? The things that we are feeling, right, are important for our journeys forward, right? Because we are feeling beings in a body. Feeling states provide us opportunity to know at deeper levels what's going on within us, what's going on within the collective, where we need to go, what we need to let go of. But it's also a process of purification, right? There's a lot of purification going on. And when the purification starts to kick in, right, once we get those influxes of purity codes, this is purifying our emotions, it's purifying our mentalities, it's purifying our physical bodies, right? So as a result, feeling states can come up. There's been a lot of stuff with identity coming up here too. So we've had some people talking about, the heart chakra activations and the lightness of the heart, the choice point of simplicity. I know for myself that's been a big one, right? Is that the complexity of the knowing of the logic mind is now becoming less and less wanted or desired, and really coming back to what it is to live with the simple heart. And the simple heart then propagates a simple reality, which means that we go with less, right? We do less. We don't need as much, because a part of our thriving is recognizing that the complications of the distractions of realities weren't providing the sustenance that our bodies and our souls needed to evolve. So the return to simplicity is a dissolution of complexity, because we're remembering what it is to be 0 point heart-centered throughout the day, which it's freedom from thought, right? Freedom from the madness, and really coming back into a place of just being. And so for myself and for others that are going through this, the return to simplicity, I invite you to just be with that space and to trust it. Because all along, we're discovering how much distraction has been built into these third dimensional systems, and how much our lives are built with distraction. Whether it's a phone or a camera lens, or a computer screen, or television and technology and consumerism and all these things. And there's no judgment here. All of them are there for a reason. They are tools. But the thing is that it's that return to simplicity that really, for many of us, we're feeling that call to, because it helps to eliminate a lot of distraction, a lot of noise, and we get to receive clarity within simplicity. So if you're feeling this return to simplicity, I ask you to just be with that space. Be with that space of the simple knowing, or the simple not knowing. Because while the mind wants to create these constructs of complexity that try to tell us that X, Y, or Z, the simplicity of the heart will tell you the truth of who you are, and the truth of where you want to go and what you want to become. And this is the arrival of that heart-centered experience that we're really all, many of us are stepping into right now, and what it is to be harmonized with the heart, harmonized with the diamond heart, harmonized with this knowing, and then how we begin to create from this place of peace and simplicity, right? Because this is what's creating ease. sometimes complexity on the journey and the complications of the journey can be pretty disruptive and abrupt. And so a lot of us are feeling that call right now, just wanting to be at peace, wanting to be at easy, right? But as a result, it's okay. So now that we're freeing up the limitations of these complex constructs and we're coming into this place of just coming into a simple heart, how do we carry that throughout the day? How do we carry that throughout our lives and our life streams and share that with our relatives, share that with our neighbors, share that with our friends, share that with our communities? And then how do we create with that, especially in entrepreneurship, right? Like, so myself included, right? Like the whole marketing and business thing and all this stuff can get very complicated, right? And it's like, man, just this desire for simplicity, right? And so while some of us might not know how we carry this forward, we're remembering in every now moment what to do. And a lot of us are blueprinting that, right? So a lot of this is just recognizing that these feelings, okay? These feelings that we're having, the division, the separation, the complication, are all temporary, okay? Oh my gosh, can't see me. We got shadows over the face. Is all temporary, right? Even this extraordinary experience right now is temporary, right? So as a result, we fix to nothing. We fixate on nothing. And we just allow ourselves to flow. And that's the arrival of this freedom, guys. That's the arrival of this next layer of freedom for ourselves. Is recognizing that things don't need to be complicated anymore. They don't need to be complex. For some people, it might be. There's a lot of situations that are very complex and very complicated in this world. And I don't want to, by any means, negate what you're going through. But the return to simplicity helps us to really rediscover what our mastery is, especially when it comes to emotional mastery, especially when it comes to the physical body, especially when it comes to our soul. It's really important right now. So there is a lot of DNA repair that's going on as well, guys. And as a result, we're now beginning to unlock and know within ourselves, it's really time for us, and this is that there's some people that are discussing this more and more. I haven't quite gotten the finger on the pulse on how to do this yet, so I'm not going to share fully on how to do this, but it's about how we care for our DNA. Truly care for our DNA. Truly care for our DNA. So we can keep it online, we can keep it open, and we don't have to keep diving into the realms of subjugation and all of the stuff we've gone through with collective miasma, with all of this stuff going on where, you know, we've had DNA suppression and DNA repression, and what it is to keep our DNA online, to keep our focus on our light body, on our soul, on our DNA, and what we can do to be able to sustain and hold the activations, okay? Because I don't know if anyone else has gone through this, but I've noticed that we've gone through a lot of work with anchoring codes, with anchoring light, with working with our DNA, and for some reason, some of these things just don't solidify, right? So we have to start looking at nutrients. We start having to look at nutrient support and start wondering and asking those questions to ourselves and begin creating that dialogue with our universe and with one another. Okay, how do we anchor and hold these DNA activations? And for myself, I'm learning this, so I'm not gonna come in as some, you know, with some mastery to share with you about this. I'm a student in this, but it is a highlighted point of awareness, is how do we really fully anchor and integrate and then see the results of these activations, right? So a lot of that does have to do, as my aware of supplement support, and different, and different ways of being and taking care of ourselves so we can keep these activations online and we can come online fully and fully embody who we are. Okay. So just a little bit of an update. You know, we're still in equinox integration, and I'm sitting here with the crystalline kingdom, just kind of bringing in some codes of integration for all of us, and just a little bit of healthy support of love, healthy support of nurture, and healthy support of gentleness, so we can really feel supported on our journey moving forward, and we can also allow ourselves to let go fully, guys, right? A lot of this process requires surrender. A lot of this process requires surrender, which means we have to let the body go all the way, so we can anchor the light all the way, so we can open up all the way, and we can really discover and remember what it is to thrive. Right? There's these little clues and keys in our reality that will show us where we can't fully let go and where we can't fully open up, myself included. I noticed this. especially when it comes to freedom, right? Is a part of this leveling up of freedom within the life is recognizing within my own day-to-day what thought forms and what things I have existing in my reality that create obligation, that propagate fear-based pathways, or the needs, right? Like, I need to do this, I need to do that, rather than doing it because we get to. Doing things because of choice, not doing things because of obligation. And as a result, this has been creating a frustration within my own reality. And I've been having my anger, my sacred rage, where I'm like, I'm done with this, I'm done with that, I'm done with this, right? Because it really is, we're remembering what it is to live heaven on earth. We're remembering what it is to live in those different star systems, to live in the Pleiadian cluster, to live in Lemuria, to live in Ascended Atlantis, right? And remembering how easy these realities could be, but why they aren't right now. And that's really a highlighted point of awareness for those of us that are key code keepers, living light keepers, and hold that remembrance within the body of those different realities, the Eden codes, right? Is how much easier things can be. And why and where we created the complications, but within our own lives, how it's reflected back is witnessing when you're going in to relax, when you're going into the letting go, when you're allowing the body to just melt, and you're doing your best to just process the integration, is what thought forms, belief systems start to come up within yourself, right? That begin to propagate that, oh no, I can't relax, or I can't open up, or I can't let go. Is it money, right? Is it your location? Is it family? Is it children? And this is a really, especially for the parents out there, the moms and dads, this one I hold a lot of compassion for you guys, because I'm like, man, as much as I want to be a father one day, I feel for you, where you can't fully relax, so you can't fully let go because you have family to take care of and things like that. And this is where, this is something that I know that the families, the moms that have been blueprinting this, and the fathers that have been blueprinting this with how it is to be a conscious parent and to be able to take care of yourself are discovering this. And a lot of this is the support systems. A lot of this is working with family, friends, relatives to facilitate and being able to gift ourselves opportunity to let go, to take those moments, to have a breath, and to just be like, you know what, today's my day off, and I'm going to take an energetic vacation, right? And I honor all of the parents out there, the moms and dads and the guardians of the kids that are going through this ascension process and are having to hold that highest and are doing what they're doing. I honor you, and I want to say thank you, because the next wave of kiddos are really important for planet Earth, as we all are. We're all important here. But the next wave of kids are really important. Really, really, really important. So I'm going to take a moment to check out the chat, see what everyone's saying. Hey, how's it going, guys? Hey, everybody. Hey. Yeah, holding simplicity. Holding simplicity. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Cool. I hope everyone's doing well. It's been an amazing past couple days. Yesterday got a little visit from oh, hey Peter. Got a visit from Miss Sherry. So I got to see Miss Sherry Bosch yesterday. Got to hang out with her for a little while. So that was really, 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 it was beautiful. It was beautiful being able to hang out with her. I'm also working with I got a new crystal that I've been working with. Been working with Seraphinite. So if you guys have ever, if you guys work with Seraphinite, please let me know what you think of Seraphinite in the comments. For me, it helps me to connect to my Seraphim energy. Helps me to connect to my Seraphim a lot. And it's something that I'm working with a lot right now, and really sitting with and getting comfortable with the energies of the Seraphinite, because the biggest thing has been getting the Seraphim online in my body fully and getting my wings online and restored, which has been a big part of this process right now. Okay. So let's see. What should we do? I think we're gonna pull just a few oracle cards. So I want to thank you guys for all your support. I want to thank you for your likes, shares, and subscribes. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys want to book a one-on-one session, you can go to foundersoflight.org. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, foundersoflight@gmail.com. All the links are in the description box. I really do appreciate you guys supporting. So a lot of us too, guys, right now are saying farewell to realities, saying farewell to friends, and are really still in that process of death within transformation. I want to let you know that grieving can be felt over here as well as it's existing within the collective, and as all of us are going through this, because a lot of us are we're giving birth to a whole new thriving generation and a whole new thriving reality, and as a result, some of our narratives of struggle are dying, and as a result, we're losing our identity from that, which is beautiful, which means the storylines are dropping off, the timelines are shifting, which means that we're opening up to thriving, and as a result, it can feel uncomfortable. As we dissolve more of the struggle narrative out of our own lives, out of our own architecture, out of our own value system, and we begin to propagate the awareness of what this means for ourselves, it really does require us accepting our abundance and accepting that we are abundant. And this is what came through yesterday for me, and this is when I was in ceremony with Sherry. She had come through, she's like, can you accept your abundance? I was like, oh my gosh. And not just financial, but like, can you accept that you are abundant? Because the lack and the struggle and the strife, those themes created an awareness for ourselves. It created a storyline, and we were getting something from that storyline. And a lot of us are recognizing how unhealthy it is. It's like empty eating, right? Like, you know, when your body is craving nutrition and you go eat the crappy foods that have no sustenance to them, and afterwards you just feel worse. Like, yeah, you hit the craving, right? It tastes good, but afterwards your body just feels worse. That's a lot of what these narratives are, is like, yeah, it provided some sort of nutritional support at a soul level or at an egoic identity level, but the more that they shift out, we recognize that it's not a nutrient-dense meal that our soul needs to thrive. And so we're really having to let go of those stories, which means that, like, when those stories go, so everything goes with those stories, guys. For some people, this is homes. For some people, this is locations. Or for some people, this is family and friends, and we have to allow everything to just upgrade and realign, to really accept who we are as abundant beings in a body, which is more than just money. It's abundant in love. It's abundant in light. It's abundant in soul. It's abundant in creativity. It's abundant in expression. It's abundant in joy. It's not just about money, but it's the power of belief that is driving this forward now, is really fully accepting who we are as thriving beings in a body, and accepting that it is our divine birthright to belong to our divine inheritance of soul, which means that we have endless support, endless love, endless connectivity, and we also have access to all of creation. All of this beautiful creation we have access to, which means that we have endless support within the architectural realms. We have endless connection to guides and to support teams and to planetary systems and to star systems, and we have access to grids. It's the flourishing of us, which is what that springtime renewal is spring is here to give us the opportunity to really step into who we are as thriving beings in a body. So what does thriving mean to you? So if we propagate the awareness that I am a thriving being in a body, what does that thriving mean to you? Endless support, endless love, endless hugs, endless care, endless joy, endless money, endless fruit, endless supplies, endless coffee. Endless videos from Corey? Please, gosh, no, we're not doing no endless Corey's. No endless videos from Corey. Too much. Marathon readings? No more marathon readings. I'm being silly. But, like, really, guys, is like, if you can fully accept who you are as an abundant being in a body, and accepting that you are a miracle, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? And then how can you begin shifting your awareness and making choice that aligned with that prosperity, right? That joy, that love, and begin to say no more to a lot of these old trajectories, these old systems, the old beliefs, and really find the confidence to really secure who you are as a crystal, to secure your confidence of being a crystalline being. You have the right to say no. You have the right to say no. You deserve to say no to things, and you also have every right to say yes to you, to say yes to soul, to say yes to your light and to say yes to your love. So what messages? Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at this. Blessings and abundance, right? So it really is time to remain open to receive our blessings and our abundance, our divine inheritance, which is soul gifts, upgrading our skill sets, right? Learning new things, right? What does this mean to you, right? So a lot of this awareness is recognizing that exists within, right? It's the light of our soul, it's the light of our heart that exists within this place of blessing and of abundance and of the eternal connection of self. So the eternal connection of self moving forward is how do we radiate that through the form, radiate that through the body, and then propagate that we are free to be abundant in our blessings. That we are free to be the miracle, and we are free to receive these miracles. Free of subjugation, free of propagation, free of manipulation, free of fear, right? So then it's how do I make a choice throughout the day that begins to propagate and stimulate that newness, right? And guys, I recognize, right, that there's things like the all the stuff that we could see on the news, right? Are we going to believe the narrative in the storyline, or are we going to really step forward into the belief system that we do live in a thriving and an abundant universe, and that we can make decisions based upon these blessings, the blessing of us, the blessing of our light, the blessing of our soul, the blessing of our heart, the blessing of our truth, the blessing of our clarity, and the abundant nature of that, right? Yes. Say yes to it, guys. Just keep saying yes to that. Keep saying yes. I'm worth this. I'm worth being able to receive this. I'm worthy of being able to be in my light. I'm worthy of being able to express my gifts to the world. I'm worthy of feeling good. I'm worthy of having a really good day. I'm worthy of being an amazing parent. I'm worthy of being a father. I'm worthy of being able to play as my inner child every single day. My self-worth, my self-value, my divine inheritance belongs to me and me only, and as a result, I have a choice on how I choose to consciously share that and believe that here and now. Have a healthy level of curiosity when it comes to discovering what your blessings and what your abundance is and what your abundant nature means to you, right? Because you are the one that gets to define this. You are the creator or the creatrix of your reality. So what does this mean for you? You're the one that creates that. You're the one that gets to define that. So sit down and play with that. Play with that a little bit. Okay, so if I trust if I trust that Corey's right here, that I truly am abundant and that I can accept this into my life, what does that mean for me? Okay, so if I accept my abundance, can I make decisions that are abundant in my life and that are for the highest good of myself, for the highest good of all, and the highest good of whatever that might mean for you, because this is your free will right to choose. And then just making those decisions throughout the day. Let's look at obligations too. If you truly are accepting yourself as abundant, are you going to play into those obligations? Are you going to exist within fear? Are you going to exist within time? Or are you going to create outside of time and create a thriving new opportunity for yourself by calling it forward here and now? You have the choice. You have the choice. You have the choice. But guys, this is heart-centered abundance. It's not mind abundance. This is feeling states of abundance. That's what these new trajectories are. That's what these new pathways are. It's heart-centered. It's soul expression. It's not of the mind. It's not of the logical, and it's not of the linear, right? So just be mindful of that, guys. It's of the soul and of the heart, not of the mind. Ooh. Do the work, inner child healing, guys. Do the work, inner child healing. So it really is time to really nurture the essence of the inner child and start to give the inner child everything it needs that it didn't receive from childhood, okay? This is another part of abundance, right? Coming back to love, right? Coming back to love here. Do the work to support your inner child and to gift your inner child what it needs to really feel like it can thrive. Right? So a lot of people, you know, I've been seeing this lately with other people and having these discussions as well, is where we act out. Where we act out because we didn't receive as a child. A lot of us, you know, we did the best to try to communicate our needs, but in a world that has a lot of limitations on communication and a lot of limitations on what we say we need, a lot of times as children, there are things that we did that we needed, but we didn't know how to express it. Right? So as a result, what happened? We acted out. We acted out. We didn't know how to say, I want this, or I need that, or so as a result, we started to embody behaviors and programs and characteristics of ourselves to be able to receive what we wanted and what we needed at that time. So now let's carry it into this present moment. How are we still acting and responding as the hurt or wounded child that didn't receive back in 6th grade, back at 7 years old, back at 9 years old, right? Back at 4? Because there's something that we embodied, or there's a characteristic or a behavior profile that we picked up from mom and dad, or it's something that we saw within someone else and we embodied it and we didn't know what we were doing. And as a result, it can start to affect us. So a lot of this, right? Snapping on people, ghosting others, disappearing, acting out, you know. There's a whole lot that starts to come from this. And I invite everyone to you know, to really look at that. If you feel guided to, right, and you want to do this inner child work, is really go deep and go, okay, like, start highlighting that awareness in your own life of when you are acting from the space of the wound, or acting from a space of wound, or a space of hurt, right? Because we've got a lot of Chiron energy that's up right now. You know, in astrology today, I did see Chiron showing up a few times, and it's like, okay, so then, you know, with this awareness, is where am I acting from a wound, responding from a wound, or where do I act out because really it's a cry for attention, or it's a plea for help, right? And as a result, sometimes we don't know how to say, like, hey, I need assistance with this, right? So we go about it in really odd ways that can feel satisfying at times, but it can also harm other people, it can hurt ourselves, or it can create ripples and distortion that we don't need to play into, right? So we really want to be abundant with our expectations, and we want to gift that to the child. Holding the child, gifting it the love that it needs, but also making sure that we are doing the work, right? These pathways and these timelines that I talk about of the newness and all this stuff, it's not handed to us on a silver platter, guys. We have to do the work. And if you're in here, you've been doing the work. You've been doing the work. But the work doesn't stop. Just because we're in a new pathway doesn't mean that the work stops. This is it's a lifelong thing. It really is. It's a lifelong journey. And as long as we accept that it's a lifelong journey and begin to just let go and allow ourselves to have the lifelong journey, we don't have to get it all done in one day or in one night. Because that was another thing that a lot of us did to escape the 3D systems, was we just kept clearing and clearing and clearing because we didn't accept that we were perfect just as we are. Right? So there's a time frame of actually doing the work and doing the clearing, and then there's times of just acceptance and radically accepting where you're at. Accepting that your childhood was the way your childhood was. Accepting that not everything is perfect, and recognizing that not everything can be aligned right now. But we can say thanks for this. We can show gratitude to it. And we can allow it to be exactly what it is, and focus back on our internal self and what we need in every now moment, and how we choose to shift the timeline, shift the programming, shift the belief system, and dissolve the judgment over who we were, what we did, what happened to ourselves, and recognize that really we aren't a victim anymore, and that we can't blame anyone anymore. With this level of awareness and freedom, that is a gift for us, that we don't have to blame, we don't have to manipulate, we don't have to distort. All we have to do is provide love and nurture to that innermost self and to the inner kiddo who needs us right now. And that's going to unlock a lot of opportunity for us. So whether this is actually getting out a notebook and start journaling and writing and jotting down notes of what the child needs, or going into that inner child healing and going into that womb work, or whether it's just being a little kinder and softer and gentler with yourself. All right, buddy. I see you're going through it. I'm going to hug you and hold you and bless you and honor you today. Right? Love you, love you, love you, love you. Right? Little things like that, that's a part of the work, right? Because that's a part of the cellular body, beginning to catch up to the fact that we are thriving, that we are abundant, and that we are loving beings in a body. We are not hateful people. We are not spiteful people. But we've encountered distortions. We've encountered third dimensional systems. We've gone through traumatic experiences. We've gone through a lot of shit in our life. We've gone through a lot in our life. But we don't have to stay there. We don't have to identify with that story. That story doesn't have to belong to us anymore. It can actually belong to the new architecture that you've been building, the new pathways that you've been propagating, the new levels of awareness that you hold, and you can belong back to that light and not be free of that narrative or that story. And you can write yourself a new story today. All right? So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all your love. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for your subscribes. We're still in integration, right? So let's make sure that we take that moment to integrate, right? But let's also recognize that we're in fluid flow momentum, right? We're in momentum now, which means that all those realities that we've been praying for, all those blessings that we want to arrive, all those miracles, all those things, they're being taken care of right now. They're in process, they're in transit, but there are things we can do in every now moment to get her done and to propagate those pathways. Some days it's listening, some days it's doing nothing, some days it's practicing peace, some days it's approaching things with a little bit more kindness, some days it's doing what we can to stay in the heart. Some days it's actually getting up and moving, turning on the car, getting out, running around, go do some errands. What do you have to do to begin propagating those pathways? Right? Continue to share your gifts with the world too. And for some of you, it's really time for you to start sharing your gifts. We're ready for you to show up in your life. We're ready for you to share. Right? But we also need to dissolve and resolve all the residual stories that tell you you can't, or you aren't, or you won't, all that stuff. And finally begin to believe that you can, you will, and you are here and now. But you got to believe it into being. No one can do it for you. You got to do it. Okay? So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your love. Hey. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yep, we can hop into new pattern, new flow. Beautiful freedom. Inner work stops with last breath. Yes. And these are new beginnings. Yes. Yes. Hey, Jamie. All right, cool. Corey told me I could do this. Yes, you can. Yes, I did. I wrote the permission slip that you can. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. So we're done here for now. So I know I can't wait to jam either. I need to get new strings for my guitar. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being you. Hey, what's up, Kevin? What's up, brother? So as we are closing down this sacred ceremony and we're closing down this space, I just want to say thank you. I want to say I love you, I bless you, I honor you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey. We're just going to keep flowing with the momentum and taking it wherever it takes us, whether it's here, there, or everywhere, you know? Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and oh my gosh, we're on our way forward now. We're on our way up, and we're in movement now. We're in transition, okay? Take that time out to be with yourself. Take that time out to rest. Take that time out to integrate. Take that time to, to really enjoy these new experiences that are opening up for all of us. And guys, command your space. Command your I am presence, right? Command your space. Command your I am presence. Take your power back. Sing, play, dance, laugh, love, thrive, feel abundant in all that you are. And I will see you guys whenever the next now moment arrives and aligns for me to show up on YouTube. And until then, I will see you guys in another moment of the now. Namaste.